Hello, everybody. This marks 1 week of our placement with Janie and Jordan. That's what I'm calling them on the blog. That's not their real names, but kind of helps to be able to tell stories. So I thought I would give an update on kind of how things have been going, and yeah, I hope to do this regularly, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it every week. I'm in my office at school, if you're wondering what this room is, because it's the best place to be able to talk about things without kids hearing. So I thought I would share some highlights, some expectations, and some encouragement. So some highlights, we had a lot of highlights this past week. One highlight was we got to hang out with some other foster kids, which I think helped make, I did ask them this too, help make my kids understand they're not the only ones feeling that way. That was great. Another has been just hanging out with friends in general, like just being kids has been a highlight. We had talked about celebrations, and we went bowling, and the kids were really excited and had a lot of fun. It made us laugh a lot, so that was great. We closed on our house this week, and yeah, so there's a lot of the great things that have happened. Lots of memory making, inside jokes, and we had some first milkshakes, first s'mores roasting, first house closing, first bowling, first time hanging in, hammocks. Yeah, that's most of the first. Josh and I had some first time registering for kids for school, first time explaining to a stranger how we are related to the kids we're with. We'll probably talk about that another time. It's hard to figure out what to say. First time telling the kids that they had hoped to go home and they couldn't. That was pretty hard, but the kids took it really well. So those are some highlights. One of the things I wanted to be sure to mention is I had a lot of expectations about foster care, and a lot of those expectations have been realistic, and many of them have not. So some of those expectations include that I thought that older kids would be really angry. That's not been our experience. That's not to say it doesn't happen, but it hasn't been our experience. I thought that older kids would be more complicated, and for us it hasn't been because they can really talk about things and ask questions and get questions answered. I thought that kids wouldn't sleep at all, and they do sleep pretty well. I mean, could sleep a little better, but I thought that there were two things that came up that I thought this is going to be awful, and neither of them were. So that one of them being the day when they found out they couldn't go home and they were in court for like 12 hours. That day they came home and they were like, hey, what's for dinner? Like, can we watch a movie? I was like, yes, but I don't know why you feel that way. But I'm going to go with it. Whereas I was a wreck and fell asleep during the movie. And another was that I thought that for Janie that it would be really difficult to go to the doctor, and it really wasn't. Yeah, like I canceled a class to go be there with her when it happened, and she was amazing. So sometimes when you expect the worst and you prepare for the worst, your expectations can be really helpful and release a burden. It also helps me to think, like, I shouldn't just think that I know what the kids are going to feel or think about things. I should really just ask God to guide me in dealing with those situations. So that's some expectations, some things that I couldn't have lived without this week, that we couldn't have lived without. All kinds of play dates. I haven't cooked a meal and dinner since last Monday when I cooked pancakes for myself. I wouldn't have no idea what we'd do. Like, the kids asked me today what we're having for dinner, and I was like, I don't know. Maybe chicken nuggets again. So I couldn't do without that, with people praying for me, with people telling me how, me, and by me I mean us, I'm just the only one here right now, telling me how this little glimpse into our story has helped encourage them, and help them to see this whole reality, which leads me to my last bit, which is I want to say, if you in this process have been thinking, wow, if Sabrena and Josh, who have no kids, could go in and do this, or I have a friend who's amazing, who's 29 and a single woman who's doing this with 2 kids, ages 5 and 10, can do this, maybe we can too. I would encourage you to act on that feeling. Just go to either like Google foster agencies in your area, or go to the Department of Family and children's services or child protective services in your area and just inquire with them about what the need is. It can't hurt to get more information. So um, the biggest thing that I want to help people understand is that there's a lot of darkness that surrounds these kids, but they are little candlesticks of light. They are the victims in this situation, and a lot of the fear that people have about foster care has to do with what if they hurt my kids, or what if they are out of control, or what if this and what if that. And I would just like to encourage you to consider, if you do have someone in your life who's ever had something happen to them, something big happen to them, do you let that thing define their whole existence, their whole life, especially when they were a victim in that case? Like, yes, the kids that live with us are in foster care, but they love to paint and they love to run and play soccer and love school and can tell you about how many moons Jupiter has. And it's like one tiny part of who they are. And so to be afraid of that one part and keep you from what really is truly rescuing them, I would say don't let that fear motivate you to run away or avoid. So there's my poignant challenge. If you have questions, I would love to hear them. I'd be happy to talk more about anything that anybody would like to know about. And hopefully Josh will be able to kind of come in and update with me soon. Have a great day and continue to pray for us, especially the kids who start school tomorrow.